with Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol. Mr. Gosling, it's great to have you with us. What's your take on Hamas's call for global solidarity with Gaza amid Israel's renewed genocide?
Well, do you know what? Hamas don't have to call for this because it's happening anyway. Let me tell you, as someone that follows things very closely on the ground, unlike the mainstream media here in Britain, that we have had protests, several protests in London, for example, spontaneously erupting without Hamas calling for them, because we understand that what is going on right now is war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. And ordinary British people remember, many of us grandparents, for example, fought in the Second World War. And I mean, actually, my grandfather fought in the First World War. And we know from the 1940s and the battles fought in those days how important it is to nip genocide in the bud, to stop it. And despite what our political leaders say, people here in Britain are supporting the Palestinians 100%. There are a few that are bamboozled by the mainstream press into thinking that somehow Israel is some great democracy and Hamas isn't. And they forget, of course, that Hamas was elected. Hamas is elected. Okay, so there hasn't been an election for a long time, but look at the state of democracy in Israel. An absolute mess, which is controlled by a certain Mr. Netanyahu, who, if the democracy was functioning, would be in jail right now.
Mr. Gosling, how much pressure do you think the global public can realistically put on Washington to reconsider its unbridled support of Israel?
Well, look, I'm not totally sure that the US establishment does support what Netanyahu does 100%. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. It's because the timing of Netanyahu unleashing hell again is not necessarily Donald Trump's doing at all. I think this is really a part of the Anglo-Zionist empire, which is mainly actually Britain and Israel. The United States for a long time has been part of that, but Trump is pushing back, I think, against this alignment with Britain. He's having these rows now with our Prime Minister Keir Starmer, particularly over Ukraine. And so if you notice, when the Israelis started this latest massacre, completely uncalled for, it was whilst Donald Trump was speaking on the telephone to Vladimir Putin around about the same time about the Ukraine peace. So I see this as actually a bit of a psychological warfare attack on Trump's ability to try and make peace in Ukraine. The idea is you're trying to make peace, and by the way, you're going to have to sort this out. So in a way, it's a sort of mafiosi style prodding of Trump and saying, if you want to do peace, then you've got a few problems to sort out down here in the Middle East, and we're making things worse for you. So I think they're actually, Netanyahu is aligned with the people who hate Russia, want to have a war with Russia, want the Ukrainians all to die for the European cause against the Russians for no apparent real genuine reason. So I think the timing is very important, because this is designed to pile pressure on Trump while he's trying to make peace in Ukraine. And also, of course, there will be internal pressure, much of it from the Israel lobby within the United States, on Trump too.
Mr. Gosling, just recently Trump told Zelensky that he's gambling with World War III. But do you think that maybe Donald Trump himself is gambling with World War III, with all the support that he has for Israel, and at the same time the escalating tensions in Yemen?
Well, yes, of course. But I think that the actual idea of a potential battle between the superpowers is probably bigger in Ukraine, in that we've had Britain particularly firing missiles into military targets, strategic nuclear targets as well, that is to say the ballistic missile defense systems in Russia, which in a way is more like a superpower confrontation than what's been going on in the Middle East, which I'm hoping, I mean, it could turn into something which is much bigger, of course. But you know, that's what it seems to me. That you've actually got also, you know, you could look at what's going on in diplomatic circles in Britain. Our king welcomes Zelensky. Our king immediately says hello to Mark Carney. Really, the Prime Minister is not the lead politician in Britain anymore. King Charles is taking a very political role. He's supposed to be apolitical, but you can see that there is an attempt really to for the aristocracy, if you want, in Britain, the monarchy,
Right.
that is to say the non-elected part of Britain, to play its role. I think people around the world need to understand Britain, I don't think, is really a democracy when you've got an unelected king who's playing such a very important role now on the world stage politically.
Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.